Hi there, I'm Natalie MacLean, editor of Canada's largest wine review site. And tonight, on a special edition of not so much the Sunday Sipper Club, but maybe the Wednesday Winos, we have Julian Armour, the executive director of Music and Beyond. Welcome, Julian.
Oh, delighted to be here, Natalie.
All right, and you're not alone. Who is with us there in the room, Julian?
Well, you hear our 3-year-old Mathis playing our beautiful 9-foot Steinway piano. And well, you hear our 3-year-old Mathis playing our beautiful 9-foot Steinway piano. And well, you hear our 3-year-old Mathis playing our beautiful 9-foot Steinway piano.
Okay, guys, I don't even know if this is recording anymore, but let me just... This is just repeating on a loop. I've got a little bit of a technical issue here. I'm going to start one more time because it's not you guys, it's the Facebook that's not showing me the comments and it's going in some sort of endless loop. We're going to try one more time and see if this works. Otherwise, we'll just have a straight-on conversation. We'll still do this, but we'll just we'll try one more time. Hi, I'm Natalie MacLean, editor of Canada's largest wine review site at nataliemaclean.com, and tonight I'm joined by a very special guest, or guests, I should say, Julian Armour, the executive director of Music and Beyond. Julian, welcome, and you have a special guest in turn, yourself, standing beside you. Who is that?
Well, I'm joined with my 9-year-old son, Francis Armour, here, and behind is our Steinway grand piano, that you can see if you look carefully.
Excellent. And we've had some recitals going on before this. You have 4 sons, all musically inclined, right?
That's right.
Oh, that's amazing. And let me just check to see if we are live. Hi there, I'm Adam. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit of an echo, but that's okay. We are going to continue here because we are talking tonight, there we are, about your auction. So Julian, tell us a little bit about the wine auction, what is involved, and I'm going to ignore the screen because it's on a delay. So we'll just talk here, and I know it's recording, but I'm just going to ignore the computer. So the wine auction, what is it all about, and what are you raising funds for?
Well, we do a couple of wine auctions every year, and it raises money for the ongoing activities of Music and Beyond and all of our young people's programming. We do a wide range of really, really exciting programming to make sure that young people are really excited and engaged with music, because we feel that music should be part of the lives of all young people. And for Music and Beyond, we bring in big cultural events and big names, but ticket sales only cover about 25% of the cost of what we do. So the rest of the year we spend raising money so we can put on this really, really wonderful activity.
I love the concept too of taking classical music, which may not be something everybody grew up with or immediately accessible, but also just combining it with other arts and disciplines and even wine. I mean, that's I think a great way of introducing classical music into the lives of those maybe who haven't experienced it before. What other kinds of things do you do to combine classical music with other disciplines or genres?
Well, we do all kinds of really exciting activities. I mean, the point is that people will come out to see a great actor. For example, we had Christopher Plummer come last year, and not necessarily be music fans, but by the end of the event, they're total music fans. Or the Chief Justice talking about music and law. Today I had one of the world's great psychiatrists, and we spent a wonderful time talking. Actually, he donated 2 bottles of wine to the wine auction. But we're talking about mental health and music, and the fact is that people do better when they're exposed to music. They're healthier, they're in mentally better shape, the brain works better. So we combine it with dance, with all kinds of things. Very, very exciting.
Crazy good. But that's interesting because the whole thing about what it does to the brain and relaxing and all the rest of it, I mean, we talk about that in the wine world as well. So our audience is very wine focused. We're interested in what this event is about. As I understand it, you have 150 bottles on the auction block, but you don't have to attend the auction in person. You can bid online. You don't even have to live in Ottawa. You ship around the world. So tell us a little bit about past auctions. Where do the bidders come from, and what is the range of bottles on auction?
We've seen an incredible range. I mean, this year I think is one of the best, or this particular auction is one of the best selections I've seen in a long time. It is absolutely an exquisite collection. And what happens is donors and collectors have these beautiful cellars, and from time to time they'll donate a number, or sometimes someone will get rid of their wine cellar that they've been collecting for a long time because maybe they're not drinking as much wine as they did. Some people donate wine, and other people just come out and buy it and drink it and enjoy it. And it's incredible. I mean, obviously, there's some of the great names, Mouton Rothschild, Lafite Rothschild. It's a really exquisite range, but from all around the world. Obviously, the great Italian wines, the great French wines, some really lovely Canadian wines, a really, really great selection. And the bottles range, I mean, there's some that you'll be able to buy, I'm sure, for $10, all the way up to the most expensive, I think, is a Mouton Rothschild that is valued at about $6,000. So.
Wow, something for everyone, truly. That's amazing. And you also have the backing of a number of wine experts who are assuring the quality and what we call provenance, the origin of these wines. People know they're getting the good goods, if you will. So first of all, you have Veronique Revest. She is a patron of the auction. Tell me a little bit about Veronique.
Well, she's one of the world's, along with you, one of the world's great wine experts. I mean, she is the world's leading sommelier. So she's the world's leading female sommelier, and she's one of the top 10 in the world. And she has a wonderful wine bar in Gatineau called Soif, which is just really delightful. I mean, it's a gorgeous spot, and she's totally wonderful. And just, having access to people who love wine and hearing about their level of expertise and their evaluation of the wine is really fun. So we've had a number, if you go on our site, which is ottawawineauction.ca, a number of people have picked really their favorite wines from the auction. And we have a lot of layers of control to make sure that we really know what we're dealing with as the wine is evaluated. So Robert Joel from Toronto puts an evaluation on everything. He's the first level of oversight. One of the great delights of our auction is we usually bring in Stephen Ranger from Toronto, who's, for me, he's like out of a movie. He's this elegant, suave auctioneer. He's not one of these like rapid-fire machine gun auctioneers. He's this charming guy that's entertaining to watch. Even if you don't even like wine, it's almost worth buying a ticket to come and see him auction things off. But should you buy a bottle of wine at the auction, by the way, the full price of your ticket will be put towards the first bottle you buy. So in a sense, you can hang out, have a nice glass of wine, enjoy and mingle with really interesting people, because there are always interesting people, and have a great evening.
Yeah, Stephen Ranger is professional auctioneer, and really great credibility, professional credibility. And Robert Joel, that you mentioned, been in the wine industry a long time, so everybody's checking, the quality and as I say, the origins of these bottles. You know what you're getting. That's quite exciting for collectors. But as you said, you don't have to be a collector or somebody with, a trust fund budget to bid in this auction. Some of the bottles are starting quite low or reasonably accessible, and yet those bottles are often not the ones you're going to find in the liquor store, so it's still a special purchase. We should probably just mention that the wine cellar, my own wine cellar, is there. It's not all my wine bottle collection, but the home for that, the cabinets, are being auctioned. Like the wine bottles themselves, you can start bidding on this now. So you can get in there early and put a bid on wherever you are. And like the bottles, this wine cabinet, even though it looks like it's a big thing, it can be shipped anywhere. It can be disassembled. I know this personally, and sent to anybody. But it too is on the block this Friday. So Julian, talk to us a little bit about that, because often you also have other things on the auction block other than just wine bottles themselves.
Well, yeah, it's not just wine. There are a number of other items. We even have some concert tickets. We have Canadian Brass coming in this summer to Music and Beyond, and they're playing, so we're auctioning off a nice package with them. But I do want to highlight this wine cabinet because, first of all, I want everyone who's watching this to know how generous Natalie has been by donating this absolutely exquisite cabinet to Music and Beyond. I mean, it is a work of art. It belongs in a museum, and you've got to go on and look at it. It was hand carved, I guess, 19 years ago. Is that right? And it is absolutely beautiful. Humidity controlled, temperature controlled, and the pictures are stunning. And it's worth taking a look at it. And for when I see how much many people spend on wine, I realize that for only a little bit more than they might spend in a couple of years, or in a year, or in a month for some people, or at one auction. I mean, I've seen people come and spend like $30,000 to $50,000 in one auction when we've had some really expensive wine. But for a fairly small amount of money, you can have something that is so gorgeous, and it really is beautiful. So thank you, Natalie. It's such a generous donation.
And I pick up on what you're saying there. You enjoy wine, you love drinking it, you love sharing it. It's about entertaining, sharing with friends. I mean, this is a little, cradle, nest, or showpiece for your wines. It could be in your dining room, it could be down in your cellar, it could be anywhere. It will fit. It's a large unit, but it can be custom fitted to your home. So I encourage people to explore the possibilities of having this, whether it's in your home, in a restaurant, or in a special events location. There's a lot of possibilities here, because I really am hoping that someone will love this cellar as much as we have in our home. The only reason we are letting it go, I haven't given up wine, but is that we are downsizing. And so there comes a time in life when you have to look at certain things and give them a better home where they'll be just as loved as you had them. So Julian, tell us a little bit about just being at an auction. A lot of people are sort of intimidated at participating in an auction, especially if you're there live. What are tips on bidding? If that old myth of if you scratch your nose, you bid on a bottle. What are the tips on bidding especially at a wine auction?
Well, there's nothing to be intimidated by. I mean, it's.
I think we might be cutting in a little bit, in and out, but let's keep going. I'm not sure if everyone can still see us. Let's see now. I can still see you on the screen. Okay, we may have lost Julian. Okay, I think we have lost Julian, but I think we're going to try to pick this up again. Let me just see here. I will try to, oh, there he is. Hey, Julian. All right, you're back.
I just lost you, yeah.
Real life and technology. That's what happens. We're back, though, and the connection is even better than ever.
Yeah,
so,
when I was a kid, since I'm here with my boys sitting here, my parents always owned a farm as well as a place in the city. And my father was a university professor, and he loved going and buying cattle. So he'd take me to these cattle auctions, and he'd warn me, say, don't even think of moving, or suddenly we'll have bought this bull. And then, of course, at one point, then he raised up his hand and just bought the animal, and he brought this prized bull home to surprise my mother, which I don't think she was too happy about. But
good advice to ignore. So what tips would you have when people arrive? Can they look at the bottles? Can they sort of see what shape those cows are in, those bottles are in? Like, are they looking at the bottles to see if there's leaks or anything? I'm sure there would not be on bottles in your auction, but what are people looking for maybe before the auction when they're looking at the bottles that will be on the auction block?
Well, I think for starters, what you want to do is go online, take a look at all of the bottles that you're interested in, do a bit of research, and take a look and kind of read about what the experts say and compare it to your own experience of wines that you've enjoyed. When you get to the auction, and it's being held at Jean Piggott Place in City Hall, and I have to say, we all go to City Hall and we think, oh yeah, all the bureaucrats are there, whatever. this turned into a stunning location. We have all the bottles on display, and it really looks beautiful. And come there early, have a glass of wine, look at all the bottles. Definitely look at the level, make sure that there hasn't been any kind of leakage. If it is, we always figure that into the evaluation. So that's one of the things. We always assume that the bottles have been impeccably stored. And I know most of the donors, and they give me these great tours of their wine cellars. They're so proud of the way they store them. But you'll see right away if there's something, if there's a red stain running down the front label, there could be a problem.
But knowing that you know them personally is a really good thing. And I've seen on your website, you have some very reputable donors who've probably purchased them personally and held them until now, and they're releasing them to you for the auction.
Yeah, well, they can tell. They'll fondly tell about when they bought that bottle of wine when they were in Bordeaux in 1973, and record it with even greater fondness than some people talk about their spouses or something. It really is fun to see, and then they buy them, they can't wait, and then 6 months later we'll have a conversation about wines that they've tried on it, or if they really like it, they'll send me an email. They'll just have had a great evening and say, I just love that bottle that I tried. So it's a real passion, and it's a beautiful passion. I mean these wines, in a way, a link with what we do at Music Beyond. We're trying to celebrate what the human species can do at its greatest, and there's something really fascinating about that. And with wine, when you try a great wine where there's this, such a long tradition, generations of family going in to really make sure that this wine is perfect, and the feedback and bringing in the greatest experts, there's a great parallel. So it's a beautiful thing, and seeing these famous labels in real life, that's also worth it. It's like going to a museum, you see all these incredible, all these incredible chateaus, all these really great bottles. And it's really something to see.
Wow. Okay, so I want to know about the details. What time does it start, or the previewing start for the auction on Friday?
Okay, on Friday, previewing starts at 6:30.
Okay.
So show up at 6:30. You can buy your ticket online and just show up, and then get a glass of wine. If you haven't had the chance to have supper, we're not offering a meal, but there's lots to nibble on. You can have some nice cheese, and then you can meet other people. You can walk around and see all the wine. You can collect your thoughts. You can get the catalog and make notes about what might be of interest, and definitely have a sense of what value. It's always a good idea to kind of plan what you might be prepared to spend on any particular bottle of wine. There are starting bids, and you make notes, and then you sit down and just go for it. You figure out your limit for the evening, and once you've reached it, well, sit back and have another glass of wine. But you can always enjoy yourself throughout the evening, and if you want to stretch your legs, if you're not that interested in whatever particular wines are being auctioned off for the next 10 lots, stretch your legs and you'll meet some other really interesting person. And the people that come out are amazing. They're doctors, they're lawyers, they're shopkeepers, they're musicians, they're all kinds of people. So.
Wow. What time does the bidding officially start?
Bidding officially starts at 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, okay.
Yeah, so it would start there a few minutes after. We've generally done these on time, and Stephen's very efficient and gets through it, so it goes by pretty quickly, actually. It won't be a really long auction. You'll find that it can go through, but it's definitely a very entertaining auction. And there's also a number of silent auction lots where you can just go and you want to stretch your legs if you're not interested in several lots about what's being auctioned. You just go and sign up, and who knows, you could buy a bottle of whiskey, or there are other things besides wine in the auction too.
Okay, great. And again, this sounds like a fabulous event, but you actually don't have to attend in person. You can bid online, and I'm sure there are arrangements that if you really want something there, you can be live bidding, or I don't know, some arrangement that says, just keep topping me up, I want to win that item. I mean, what happens when people sort of zero in on something that they really want, and they don't want to be outbid at the live auction, but they're not there in person?
Well, they do what's called a commission bid. So you just call in, and then we would assign somebody, and you'll say, like, oh, I'm willing to go up to $300 for this bottle, and then someone would bid. You might get it for a lot lower. Generally speaking, I generally see two things. It rarely goes for their top amount. Usually they get a great bargain and they get it for lower than that, or they're just outbid and then they miss their chance on it. But people do two things. Some people just go online and they'll place a bid. It closes at 1 o'clock on Friday, and then that becomes the starting bid of the online auction. So if your bid is high enough, if you really want it, The odds are pretty good that actually people will say, okay, fine, and starting bid, and then you'll get the bottle will notify you, and you can come to our lovely office in the Byward Market. We'll have the wine ready for you. You can just pick it up right away, and you can have steak au poivre that night and have a great dinner.
That sounds so great. Wow, it sounds like a fabulous evening. Are there any other tips or advice you want to give to people in terms of if they're thinking of this event or at least bidding? Any other final tips?
Well, I think they can always contact our office and discuss it. There are a number of us who've been doing this for quite a long time. I'm happy to talk if someone wanders by our Byward Market office. I'm happy to talk about them. I think the key thing is really, wine is one of these great passions where you just continue to get more knowledgeable. Even if you're as knowledgeable as you, Natalie, that you continue to expand what you really like, and it evolves, and to kind of take notes and read about what other people like, and then you make notes of wines you think will really appeal to you, and you'll bring home some treasures for sure. And it really is not that expensive. I mean, overall, I mentioned a couple of very expensive bottles, and there are some, but the majority of them are ones that really, for kind of higher end LCBO prices, you can get a wine that is ready for drinking. It's aged enough. You don't have to wait. I mean, there's nothing worse than buying a great bottle of wine and knowing that you're going to have to wait 15 years before you can actually open it. So
that is unthinkable. Yes, and restaurants too. You just can't buy mature wines unless you're patient, and most of us aren't these days. So to find a wine that is just at peak drinking, and of course, we're talking about fine wines and good prices, but also this is just for a great cause. So that whole thing comes together into one really terrific evening and great cause, great fundraiser. I can't think of a better place to celebrate both wine and music.
Yeah, and, if you're in any doubt as whether to place that bid, just think, I'm doing it for the children. Think about
it. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Nothing like a good cause to open wallets, hearts, and palates, right?
And it is a great investment. I mean, wine appreciates. Fine wines, great wines, are like great cellos or great violins. They appreciate more than just about anything else you can think of. I mean, just think every year there are fewer and fewer bottles from each year because people are drinking them, and they become more and more in demand, and they age. And so you're buying an asset that does have value, and
liquid assets, and especially now with the rise of markets like China and Asia and even South America, they're buying up all these fine wines that you are offering. And so it's becoming almost unaffordable, except if you participate in an auction like this and nab yourself a deal, which I saw many there, bottles that are amazing, cult wines that are offered at real bargain prices for what they are, really amazing wines.
Yeah, it's fun. And nothing says it to me more than when I think of at the end of the evening, someone buys all these bottles of wine, and I want to go up and say, thank you for supporting Music and Beyond. But it doesn't work that way. They come up and they say, thank you for putting on such a great evening. That was such a blast. And they can't wait to take their new treasures home. So it really is a win-win situation.
It is. That's fantastic. That's what I think, we all should do. Bloom or replanted. Buy the wine, give the wine, whatever, where you can make the most impact. That just makes so much sense to me. So Julian, it's ottawawineauction.ca, correct, for the URL?
That's right, or they could go to our Music and Beyond website, which is musicandbeyond.ca, and they can link right through. They can look at all the wines. They can look at many pictures of that gorgeous cabinet. And again, thank you for donating it. And I know, when you see the wines you're going to want to buy, people are going to want to buy this cabinet because they're going to need a great place to store them.
Yes, I think so. I mean, really, it's the whole package. And again, you don't have to be there. You can live anywhere on the planet, because I know, Julian, you said you've shipped to the Far East, to the US, UK, Europe, everywhere. So you can ship anywhere. These bottles, the cabinet itself, anything else that's on for auction. So don't worry about that. Just participate and help the kids.
We've even had people that are from Ottawa
Yep.
and they're bidding. They're lying on the beach in Hawaii and bidding away on their wine. So
Yeah, okay, first world problem, but still, they're helping. They're helping, so that's good. All right, Julian, this has been a pleasure. I mean, really, I know this will be a great success for you this year. I feel your positive energy and just the amount of momentum behind you and the auction and everything that's there and the support. And I just think it's a natural pairing, wine and music. What could be better?
The very best. Yeah, it's a great pairing. Thank you very much.
All right, Julian, good night, and best of luck with all those wonderfully talented boys who are all musically inclined. That's fantastic.
Great. Thank you.
All right, take care.